introduction, the intro.
Yeah, you're good. Is it? What's his name? Can't stop me now.
Can't stop me now. Yeah,
Yeah. Did he subscribe to Carol Lane?
he may have. Did you
Yeah, he may
did you
have
see it?
subscribed and then unsubscribed. I don't know. He's another one on my list, mate. Don't worry, I've got a hit list.
Oh
no, you
no! Oh
no no
no!
no. You're good. You're good.
No, it's fine.
Um, I've actually had Victoria Vidandi, who is one of the first ever female solo artists on Ethereum, and she is helping me with my creative stuff, and she's fantastic. She's
Amazing,
like just on another level. She's also very good with the AI stuff, which is pretty cool.
amazing.
So all good. But I'm just going to check if
I think we are live though.
uh,
What is up, everybody? Bren here with my guy Jayden. Streaming from both.
chief presenter, mate. You just go into presenter mode. I love it. It's good. So now it means I can just leave you to it, even though it's my stream. I'll just leave you to it, and
No,
I'll
no,
just start
that's a
sharing
quick
shit.
intro. I wanna give our people some context here on what we're talking about. But no, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day. Wednesday, November 26th here, 2 p.m. here for me in the U.S. I know Jayden is on the opposite side of the world. But stoked to be back for another stream. Hope everybody's having a good day, night, afternoon, wherever you're at. Today we're gonna talk about a lot of good things. Talk about this Bitcoin bounce that just happened now, and how it goes along with the plan we were talking about last stream. Things to look for on the higher time frames, lower time frames, on whether this bounce is going to lead to an all-time high or potentially a lower high that could go down lower into 2026. Talk about a lot of other good stuff, NFTs. But Jayden, how you doing today, bro?
Bro, it's so good to hear. Like we're actually late because we were shooting the shit backstage, and we weren't actually. I'm getting messages from people saying I thought you were going live like 20 minutes ago. But it's good to catch up with you, guys. I just want to make a little bit of an intro. Bren has started writing on Substack. Obviously, my background is as a writer on Medium. I've been writing on there for 4 or 5 years. I kind of migrated to Substack because they have these features, these immersive features where you can do the live streams and stuff. Today, Bren did probably one of the best guest posts on some technical analysis on SUI. Um, the TA stuff is not something that's a strength of mine because I'm kind of just like the good old fashioned buy and hold. But there's a lot of merit in the stuff that he does. And the thing I like about you, Bren, is the fact that you mix the kind of short term dynamics with a lot of the macro stuff, and a lot of it is actually eerily accurate, despite my kind of former cynicism. I think one of the things is that wedge pattern on a chart. I mean, like I swear by that thing, um, and I think it's um it's a good thing just to get some like real signals because the chart does tell you a story. I mean, one of the things that you pulled up on the last stream that we did was you were like, in 2022, I think we had the bear of the bear of the bear, and people thought it was over. We had fucking banks going into administration, the whole FTX thing, the lunar crash, and then you look at it on a chart and you're like, well, hold on, that's only lasted 6 months. Like people talk about that time like it was Armageddon, and they're kind of trying to do it the same this time. And I'm thinking, hold on a second. I mean, even if we do go through a bit of a, corrective phase here, um, I can't see it being very well. I can see it being short-lived, and you can only really see that by actually looking at the story that the chart is telling you, and that's why you're brilliant at that sort of stuff, my friend.
Exactly, and I
So
appreciate the words on the Substack, and if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even, probably had the, been motivated to do it. I've been wanting to do, because I do the writing in the Telegram, so was looking into Substack or Medium or something, and over the last few years. So I appreciate you kind of giving me that push. Definitely, everybody check out, definitely follow Jayden if you haven't already on Twitter. He's been writing a lot of great stuff on the macro side of NFTs and crypto, and I say macro, I just mean the wider view of looking at the NFT market, and a lot of great takes, and then as well as his Substack. But yeah, no, Jayden, I agree. I think a lot of people it just goes to show a lot of people don't really look at charts too much because when you say bear market, people automatically assume it's just like long winter, whereas like
Yeah.
the worst bear market, which was 2018, 2019, actually, which was 13 months from top to bottom.
Yeah.
So even if we were to go into a quote unquote bear market, which would really mean just another low or two, which we'll go over, whether it's likely or not.
Mm,
Even if that were to happen, we're talking a matter of 3 to 6 to maybe 9 months longer. And if you have a
yeah.
longer term view on crypto, like myself and Jayden, other people, I feel like does it really matter? But we'll
Mm.
go over all that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that. Like, I actually just shared a video with my group, and I know it's like a Raoul Pal video, and he goes on this kind of like a 1 minute soliloquy about all of the backdrop that we've got. We've got, I personally, whilst I don't know, because none of us would have known about this, the liquidate, like the 1010 and the liquidation event that we had. But he sits there and he goes, well, we've got this Clarity Act that's happening. We've got interest rates coming down. We've got debt that needs to be rolled over. We've got inflation that's down. All of the central banks around the world are reducing rates. There's probably never been as strong as, well, not necessarily pricing, but in terms of from an administration point of view, has never been as bullish. I mean, you think about the last administration, like they were just like not crypto friendly at all. Calling the whole industry a scam and all this sort of stuff. I just think just the backdrop of this is so much more positive. But then there's kind of these two competing forces because you've got, I guess, the human nature element, which is the selling at the moment, which is people think that there's a 4-year cycle. So ordinarily they would sell around about this time. Whereas the other side of it is, well, hold on. If you think like liquidity is the dominant force, and there's more money, just by first principles thinking, if there's more money in circulation, then there's more money to go after these assets, and it's quite clear that there's going to be more money. So it's like, you're kind of competing against those two forces, but I'm sure you can sort of demystify it on a chart for us, my man. Do you want to do a quick share screen? We don't want to make the same mistake we did last time. Fucking 5 minutes into the presentation, we're not even sharing the screen yet.
Yeah. I'll share the screen. But just to touch on what you were saying, I mean, 100%. I think I said this yesterday on stream. I feel like if you put everything in like a checklist, where it goes price action, the charts, price action, whatever, institutional adoption or regulatory, stuff, and then macro, all four of those or all three of those bottom ones would all be checked green, bullish and
Right.
pointing towards like a bullish period for risk assets. Really, that mystery is just the price action and why it gets a little bit tricky. I'll share my screen here.
Yeah.
Let me see. Share screen. Let me do. Should be
No worries, my man.
Bitcoin. So,
Bitcoin. Right, hold on 2 seconds. Let me add it to the stage. This is a mistake we made last time because I was looking at it at the bottom. I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. And no one
I
can see
was looking
shit.
at my screen. They just weren't.
Yeah. Right. So what we got here? This is a BTC chart. Yeah.
Yeah, Bitcoin. So, so if we look at really like Jayden said earlier, looking at past charts and backdating past charts is your friend. Very few people really it's crazy. It's crazy because most people I feel like in crypto, a lot of people focus so much on the last few weeks of price action, the last few months. They kind of make that their whole worldview on crypto. Don't really look too much on the macro or any of that stuff. But they kind of refuse, or very few people, like we said on the top of the show, look at the and backdate and look at these past bear markets or corrections and compare them. And I think a lot of that is because it's kind of the mainstream belief that charts are just bullshit. They're astrology, like whatever, they're random.
Yeah.
And while I do believe that, I do think that most of the mainstream stuff that people used alone only is inaccurate. To be honest, like just honest, Fibonacci. I know there's people that use it.
Use the loan. Sorry, just explain that.
I was saying that there's a lot of mainstream stuff that people are using in crypto, like the support and resistance and
Oh,
trend
okay,
line,
yeah.
different stuff that used only alone, I feel like are
Oh,
a bit
okay,
inaccurate. So I understand that certain stigma,
yeah.
but I feel like the charts do leave certain clues, especially in structure. And there's certain stuff that I look at. We talked
Yeah.
about this a little bit on the last show, but I look at every chart, and essentially every asset is in one of three phases at any time,
Mm,
right?
okay.
Um, Hold on, is my mic? Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I think it was
Oh,
just while you
here,
sorting your
here.
microphone out. I think you put a brilliant thing in the blog about how you break down these three phases, like the impulse, the correction, and the peak. Yeah. So
Can you
if
hear
you could
me
just,
better
yeah, I
now?
can hear you perfectly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is it better than earlier? Because I switched my mic to.
It's better than earlier. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Good man.
All right. But yeah, every market or every asset, whether it's a stock, crypto, metal, is in one of three phases at any given time. It's either impulsing, which are the big moves up or down. Think the big
Yeah.
bear markets or bull markets. Corrections, which come in between the pullbacks, cool off periods, and then tops or bottoms, which are peaks. And
Yeah.
each of these phases have distinct characteristics, right?
Right.
Corrections are super choppy usually. Even if there are moves down, they're very choppy, condensed, coiled up usually. And we see
Yeah.
this in the 2024 correction, the one we saw in April. Price
Yeah.
came down, but it's in this small, condensed, kind of choppy like structure. So
Right.
the reason I say this is this recent move down. The reason why it's a bit different than these more obvious past corrections we've seen during this bull
Yeah.
market, and makes it look a little bit more like the 2021 top, is that this move down, instead of being short and choppy where we saw 15 or 20% move down on Bitcoin like we saw
Yeah.
last year or right here, we saw a straight what is this, 35% move, maybe 32, 33%
Yeah.
move in a matter of 4 or 5 weeks with no bounce. Okay,
Okay.
so that's more like the bear market impulsivity, but that's just one piece of information, right?
Right.
If we take into account all those other things outside the charts, those I think weigh heavier weighted to me, that this bounce that again we anticipated on the last show we were on, right? We were saying we think
Yeah.
we're going to get a bounce here, already happening. To
Okay.
me, I think all the other things into account, that very likely maybe 65-70% chance, if I had to say, that we do go straight to all-time highs from here still, even though this move was so impulsive in nature.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you want to go over this yet, but like what we'd be looking for to kind of invalidate that. I don't know if you had anything. I don't want to get too far ahead.
Yeah, no, mate. I think you make a good point. I mean, okay, what signals there do you think that maybe now is a time to have a nibble? Like, what do you see there? Is it the fact that it looks like it's got some type of support, or the chart's coming back up again, or do you think it retests those lows because clearly it looks like it's well below that trend line, so it's obviously like oversold, right?
Yeah. So the trend line things that I have, again, I just use them to depict these corrective structures,
Right.
where they're essentially it's pretty much depicting these corrective channels. The wedges, some of them are called them too. I more call them corrective channels,
Yeah.
but they're essentially the same thing. They're corrective structures. If I
Yeah.
were to be accurate here, really, I should be drawing this down here, like, because this would be the low in the correction. If either way, this is the first low in the correction. But again,
Okay.
there's not much to go off of. Again, once we bounce here, I'd adjust it. But it's
Yeah.
there just kind of as a guideline. But to answer your
Okay.
question, again, if we look at these past corrections of the past, right, and what we're
Yeah.
looking for, they always end usually, right? We look at
Mm.
past the last two or three, they ended with at least 2 to like 8 weeks of consolidation, meaning it held a
Right.
certain low before taking back off to the upside. So to answer your question a second ago, we could definitely go up from here and just V-shape bottom out. It happens sometimes, kind of
Yeah.
rarely does it happen.
What
Most of
what
sometimes,
percentage would you give to that?
just based off of probabilities of past corrections. But again, we only have 3 corrections to go off of, right? It's not
Right.
a great trend in general, but just based off of most assets in general, this is like what I talk about a lot on all my content, is the
Mm.
biggest sign of a bottom or top forming, whether it's on the lower time frames, higher time frames, is some type of consolidation, distribution, accumulation, some people call it, before trend reverses. So if I had to put a percentage on it, not looking at any of the other, nuances that we're talking about outside of the charts, I would say that just based off probabilities, very high, 60, 75% chance that it does come back down and at least retest this low. It does something like this. But again, this time could be different with everything that we have bullish on the other side of things, right? But if we're going just straight off of probabilities, probably something like this would probably be more likely.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I obviously the poly market had the odds that the Fed weren't going to reduce rates, and then they completely flipped, but it didn't really have a huge impact on the price of Bitcoin. So I wonder if the market is kind of numbing to the fact that the I guess the kind of liquidity tap is not having as big an impact on the price. You remember when interest rates used to come down, Bitcoin just used to fucking fly.
Yeah.
But I think there's firstly, I'm hearing a lot of stuff on the timeline that people are finding it a bit of a tiresome cycle, because there's now this expectation attached to price, and the fact that actually around about this sort of time we're nearing all-time highs, and whilst Bitcoin has done well from I think 17K as a low earlier on in the cycle, it hasn't really been off to the races. I mean, there's like some of the log trends I've looked at suggest that maybe a end of cycle top for Bitcoin would be like 250K or 300K. And we're kind of nowhere near those levels at the moment. Do you have any like personal, like, I guess, macro thoughts on why the price of Bitcoin might have been suppressed? We're not quite off to the races.
Just over the last few months, I think it was just it was a combination of a lot of things coming together, just a lot of events, right, that caused a lot of not just uncertainty in crypto alone, but obviously with the trade wars and everything. But then after the trade war, which affected the overall, risk assets, equities, everything, we got hit with a crypto only kind of correction, right? A crypto only kind of black swan, which was the 10/10 October 10th event, right? Which you saw equities actually came out of the trade war kind of resolution. Crypto didn't, because of a lot of people are speculating maybe winding down of maybe some market makers that may have been hit hard. There's speculation around Wintermute, which I could pull that up probably. Wintermute, which I don't know if you're too familiar, Jayden, is a market maker that deals in a lot of meme coins and on-chain stuff.
Right.
They provide liquidity for these different meme coins and stuff. And essentially, if you get a good market maker in your meme coin that trades more efficiently, so on and so forth. Essentially, Wintermute, I guess, has been selling off a lot of their meme coins in a kind of weird manner, different than they used to or normally do. A lot of people are speculating that they're selling off, because there's might be casualties or whatever on that side. But either way, we got hit with a few macro things, which again this year was we got with the trade war, then we got hit with the Israel Palestine thing, then we got here with the trade war again, and then just as risk assets coming out of that, it got hit with the 10/10 thing. But either way, I mean, markets, if crypto, the last thing is like if crypto is going to become a more sustainable asset class like equities, we should expect, and in fact we should welcome, years of down and kind of sideways, because that's the only way you set up for
I think there's
runs,
there's going to be a time where we pray for the volatility to come back, because the kind of downside volatility is the thing that allows you the upside, and it is the thing that is making the opportunity as big as it is, because if the volatility goes away, you're then having to be genuinely not play the cycles anymore, but just play the long game. And then you're thinking, well, I might as well just invest in stock if that's going to happen, because it's I can have a diversified stock portfolio instead that can grow at, I don't know, 7 to 8, 9% a year or whatever.
Before I forget, I want to reset and then say what's up to the chat. We want to also make this stream super interactive. So if you guys have any questions, comments about anything, chart requests or something when it's time. We're going to get into NFTs, meme coins if we have time, stuff like that at the end. But right now I see my boy Wolf. What's good, brother? I appreciate you for coming. Dano, what's up, man? Regrar, still tripping. Lucky, Ash, good to see all of you guys. While we're continuing, if you guys could again like, comment, retweet, share the stream, always appreciated. We've been doing these streams for the past few weeks, and we'll probably continue to do them as time goes on as well. But definitely check out my boy Jayden, what he's got going on in Substack and then on Twitter. And then one thing, if it's the first time you guys are in this stream, it's only our second one we're doing, so most of you probably are. Say first time and then where you are tuning in from the world.
That'd be brilliant, mate. I've got to get your resetting of the room right, guys. I've only just kind of started these live streams. My core thing. I say I've started them. I was actually doing them on Substack, but to do the resetting of the room and the sharing and all these sort of hacks is brilliant, mate. I think for those who don't know how we kind of started communicating with each other is I was trying to buy a VFriend at like 0.75, and I thought, right, it's definitely the bottom of VFriends. It can't go any fucking lower. And then there's this guy called Bren who just rocks up and starts sweeping floors. And then all of a sudden, the price of VFriends is like 1.5, and I'm like, okay, this guy's just basically doubled my cost basis. And then we kind of reached out to each other, started chatting, said, we should be doing content together. And obviously, you want us to do the writing. I wanted to do the live streams. Works perfectly. And you are so good at the TA stuff. Actually, after we did our last live stream, I had a ton of messages from people just saying like it was absolutely class. And
oh man,
I mean, there was one I think it might have been Curtis G. He usually pops up and he puts something about it was like drinking out of a fire hose. You just need to get some more. I saw that. It was actually really clever the way he put it. But obviously your message is resonating with people, my friend. So keep it up.
Appreciate it. You too, brother. Yeah, it's great. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't been able to tell. You're so eloquent in the way you talk and everything, brother. You've been streaming for a long time. So definitely everybody check out Jayden if you haven't already. But let's get back into Bitcoin though before we but what I was saying, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just gonna say, let's get into Bitcoin and then we can kind of move on to the other stuff. Is there anything else you want to cover on Bitcoin? I know one of the things you said in the written piece is, and people know this, but they don't know it, is when they're holding an altcoin, they're like, what the fuck's going on? And it's like, guys, just look at Bitcoin. It's down 30%. It is the index to the entire space. When that goes down, it drops significantly. Like you said on the last stream, which was brilliant, is like in any other investing world, if something drops by 60%, if it's like a company, it's dead. Like that fucking company's not coming back to life.
Or they would just say avoid it with a friggin' whatever. They would look at the revenue and it's probably dead and gonna go bankrupt and all this shit. But yeah, you're right. It's different with crypto.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, but then to the upside, it's different. So when financial conditions are looser, it's like these things go up astronomically, and then everyone thinks they're a genius. Everyone thinks they're worthless when it goes down, and everyone thinks they're a genius when it goes up. And the reality is neither of those things are true. You got to kind of be like delta neutral and just have a look at the signals, stay calm, because I really much sort of buy into the fact that, and I don't know if you saw Murad's video. He just said, look, all of crypto are just communities. These are just communities of people that are holding coins. You don't need to overthink this stuff. And it's like, but the communities kind of become the biggest proponents of the network. They fight off other. This is why meme coins work like so well. In fact, meme coins are probably the purest form of digital ownership. A load of people can mid-curve like, oh, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. No one gives a shit about that stuff. They're just, it's like the XRP thing. This whole Swift banking thing. I know that sounds amazing, but actually, the value is in the square root of the users and the community. If a whole bunch of people say it's got value, then it's got value.
100%. That's why ADA, XRP, Doge, all of the biggest coins that have hit the mainstream have gotten to where they were. XRP, it's not because of the tech and whatever. It's literally because of the cult and the core community that they been able to build. And you're 100% spot on. It's all about the community. Even in Bitcoin, really, in early days, obviously now you have the institutions and everything. But the only reason we got there is because of the fanatical community of people who spread the message around, decentralized store of value and all this different stuff. And look where it is now. It's the same thing. And that's why I'm such a big believer, despite it's not the popular thing to talk about right now, especially when a lot of these people view movement coins as meme coins still. And I think 90% of meme coins are pump and dumps and whatever short-lived stuff. But I think the movement memes, like you were saying, the coins that have strong movements, that have time in the game, multiple years, are going to go on to become, because of the way the world's trending, going to be able to go on to become huge movements and go on to billions of market cap. So you're spot on. It's all about, like I said in the last line of this tweet here, I feel like everybody right now is like, well, the community doesn't matter. The prices are down 90%, but it doesn't matter until when prices are going up, and it's all that it matters.
Correct. I fucking love that, mate. We're very much on the same page. Obviously after this Bitcoin, unless there's anything else you want to cover on that, I want to go on.
Yeah, I actually do want to cover one big thing real quick on Bitcoin and what will actually determine, because I think everybody's looking at this chart. They're like, all right, this is cool, but like, what the fuck does this mean about the next few weeks? And really what I'd be looking for again is, I, first of all, have an extremely long-term, extremely bullish long-term and even mid-term view for crypto. I think right now, the world where institutions, they pretty much, the big financial institutions, tech, everything have pretty much telegraphed to us that they're going to build the financial, pretty much definitely the financial world, but collectibles, a bunch of things on blockchain. And with that, the world's headed towards crypto just merging with all these different other things. So I'm extremely bullish on, have a mid and long-term view. As far as the short term, even, like I said, I do think we get a big bounce here that does continue, whether we retest this low here or not. I think in the next couple weeks, we do move higher. Now from there, again, looking at these past corrections and last bear market we got, really the biggest indicator and like the strongest, most foolproof way to determine whether we're entering a bear market or a correction was the 200 moving average, right? You see this red moving average, and I don't use a lot of moving averages on my charts other than in these situations on these higher time frames corrections. And the 200 moving average, a lot of times you'll hear people call the death cross, where this blue moving average, which is the 50, and the 200 cross, where the blue one will come under the red one, and that will indicate a big shift in momentum. The thing is,
just to clarify, the blue line is the 200-day moving average.
No, I'm sorry, the red one's the 200. That's the most important one. But
but the blue line's the 50. The 50. Yeah.
When the 50 crosses the 200, that's called the death cross. Okay.
So I can see a death cross.
Exactly. Right here. Yeah.
Yeah,
we're dead.
Unless my eyes are deceiving me.
Yeah, we're finished. No, but the thing is, the death cross, the reason it is called the death cross is because during the bear market, it really is the big shift in momentum.
Yeah.
The thing is once it does, if it does cross in a bear market, it doesn't come back, and it does indicate a big rollover. But the thing is, during every major correction during this period too, we've also seen the death cross. But what will happen is within a few weeks of that death cross, almost always you'll get a cross back, and that 200 moving average price will move back above the 200 moving average. You see it happen right here. You see my cursor right here, happen right here, happen right here. Pretty much when price crossed back, or pretty much price moved back above that 200 moving average, it never went back, right?
Yeah.
So yes, death cross does mean death in a bear market, but also when the price moves back above it during a correction, it indicates that we're moving back to the upside. So the reason why this correction is so interesting is because this move down brought us so far under that 200 moving average, is that we have to go up pretty far just to get back over there. But what would be the kind of final confirmation based on these other corrections in bear market is if price goes back up here, which I think we're going to bounce, and if it crosses and trades back above this red 200 moving average, just like it did here, that would kind of be the final indication, okay, that we are going to probably see a shift quick of momentum back to all-time highs. For me, the way I'm playing is I'm DCAing with a good part of my stables, and you continue to DCA as if this is the bottom, with the understanding that if we do this, like you see here in 2021, it did the death cross. Bitcoin traded right back to that 200 moving average. You see here?
Yeah.
But what did it do? It failed to break, and then that went down another 75% from there.
Is that in
So
2022?
yes, that was the 2021,
So
2022.
there was a slightly different macro backdrop to that because they actually increased rates and they pulled liquidity, didn't they?
Dude,
So
yeah,
they were going through it.
Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt. My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good, bro. They were going through obviously a tightening phase, whereas now QT is actually ending. So it's kind of like the opposite. So we got an opposite macro backdrop, and I think people are anticipating the same. And I don't, yeah,
Exactly. Like that's an understatement for sure because it's the complete opposite. Whereas, and that's what's got me really, really leaning towards and having a heavy conviction, despite how big this price move down for Bitcoin was,
yeah,
is that the macro is so the opposite it was in 2021. And the reason why not just crypto, but people forget stocks actually came down and had its biggest correction since COVID, where stocks went down here in 2022 from 4,800 the S&P down to 25% correction on the S&P is huge. But now we're seeing the opposite backdrop, like you said, on the macro side, where we're not looking, things are looking like they're going to move towards easing instead of before, where it looks like we were just on the inflation was going crazy, things were out of control, and like we were seeing the stock market pretty much back at all-time highs. So,
yeah.
just to kind of conclude, I was saying here on the Bitcoin, on the daily chart. And again, I forgot to clarify, guys. If you're looking at these moving averages here, we're talking about this is on the daily chart for the death cross, right? So I'm looking at the daily. So really, I'm DCAing as if this is the bottom here, but the final kind of confirmation based on these past corrections is if Bitcoin is going to bounce hard here and trade back above this red 200 moving average, which right now it's all the way at 110K, then that's kind of the final confirmation. But also we have to understand that there is a possibility that we do what happened in 2021, where price comes down, it comes up here, fails to break that moving average, and then comes down one more time. That's always a possibility, but we'll kind of have to see how price reacts at that 200 moving average.
I mean, the other thing I was seeing on the timeline is that, obviously the I don't know if you know your politics. I try and stay away from, especially US politics, because there's no ways a Brit should have any saying what happens across the pond.
Yeah.
It was funny. I was listening to Piers Morgan the other day, and he often, when he gets interviewed on US TV stations, they often ask him about his stance on guns, which essentially basically lost him every job that he could ever get in the US. And his view on it was, look, he's got his view on it or whatever, but he didn't want to. He was like, a Brit should not have any say in what happens, and I kind of think it's the same with politics, which is I kind of stay away from it. But the Republicans want to get voted back in, and you have I guess a pro-business president who's trying to onshore all of this manufacturing, which I think is the strategy around the tariffs. So he's trying to increase productivity, which in a roundabout kind of way looks clever. Although the timing of when he announces these tariff increases is just like, it's almost like we have this moment of recovery in crypto, and then he fucking tweets, and you're like it's you're like, someone just needs to keep him away from that Twitter account. However, there is another train of thought that he's doing that to actually put downward pressure on conditions, so it forces the Fed to pivot quicker on rates. So then he can roll over the debt, and then because the Secretary of Treasury, Scott Bessent, if you read, he used to be a fund manager, and a lot of his investment thesis is around the cycle and using the liquidity cycle to invest. So it's really interesting that he's now the Secretary of Treasury, so he has an awareness that more liquidity increases asset prices. So they'll all know this.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what a lot of people have speculated from when even Trump came on, and that plays into crypto. We won't watch it, but this guy, Good Alexander, I've shared this video. This video is like really polarizing to people. I'm sure some of you guys know him. He put out this video pretty much talking about how the entire reason why, or the big motivator on why the powers that, I didn't even share my screen. The powers that be are really trying to bring in stable coins is so that they can increase dollar dominance and essentially prop the dollar up for longer and kind of increase, kind of keep it as the dominant currency. And obviously by getting in here, Larry Fink and everybody talk about this too, by getting stable coins into the hands of everybody around the world. And in order to do that, the big way that they, in order again to roll over the debt, to kind of inflate away and roll over the debt, by pushing people into stables. And this guy Good Alexander kind of speculates that they are highly speculated to get people into speculation and gambling and all these different things using stable coins, again, so that they can push more people into these stables, essentially pushing more people into the dollar. So they're highly incentivized to make poly market, creator coins, crypto in general, widely available to everybody in the United States and all around the world, so that they could get people into stable coins and increase that dollar dominance. So I think it all kind of plays along to it. And whether it's that deep or not, it makes a lot of sense to me. I do think, whether you think it's intentional or not, the world is moving towards mass speculation and gambling, and it plays into the whole movement coin thing.
But it's going to be the only thing. Like, if you look at the efficiency of AI, there's a thing called economic singularity, which basically means everything will be so efficient that the only thing humans will be able to do is bet. And I mean, it's the only thing that will drive efficiency. Play sport and bet.
Yeah,
like everything else is going to be.
They want to bet. Well, essentially, the theory is they want people to bet using U.S. stable coins, right? Like that's why they're making poly market and everything blockchain related, right? Apart from making the financial system more efficient and all that stuff, strictly on the financial, like they're trying to push people. The speculation shit's going to happen anyway because it's the only thing to do. But they want people to do that speculation using U.S. stable coins. So either way, even if it's whatever it goes, I think the world is just pointing towards all of these things, crypto just becoming massive because of all these world trends.
Yeah, I think that's brilliant, mate. I think let's obviously both of you and I are big on NFTs. Let's move on to the Ethereum chart. Obviously, ETH is a huge function of I guess the NFT ecosystem, and I think when I put a post out the other day about when ETH, people need to be in profit in ETH terms before they kind of rotate into NFTs. But at the moment, I guess, we had ETH lagged the cycle for a period, but then it kind of increased. And then what you had was this huge multiplier effect on NFTs, because then CryptoPunks increased like sometime in Jan. Or actually it was last year, just after the election. And then that sent a strong sentiment to the rest of the NFTs. But actually, the Ethereum price action is a big function of this, because if people are in profits, they'll rotate into NFTs. Is there anything on the ETH chart that you particularly see, or do you think it just kind of mirrors Bitcoin?
Both, right? So it definitely will mirror Bitcoin, but Ethereum is actually, where do we see the 200 moving average? And again, 200 moving average is really relevant, really only for me in these higher time frame corrections. When we're trending up, I'm not really using them too much, but 200 moving average, what do you notice, Jayden, about it, where the 200 moving average is compared to where Bitcoin was? Do you remember? It's way closer. I feel like
this is a test and I failed.
It's all good. It's way closer to where we are now. Right? Remember where the Bitcoin was way closer. So
there's not big distance.
Exactly, and that points to the Ethereum move down. Actually, the last few weeks wasn't as severe, wasn't as big as the Bitcoin move down, which is also very telling, because usually in bear markets, Bitcoin is showing strength. But what we're seeing here too, and I'll just pull it up really quickly, is that Bitcoin dominance, which is the overall measure of the percentage of the Bitcoin of what it makes up of the total crypto market cap, is actually going down. What do we notice during bear markets though? The Bitcoin dominance chart is either going up or sideways. The fact that it's going down right now, I think, is telling us a story too, that it's showing.
Is that similar to alt season? No,
it could be. Yeah, it is. It has been in the past, right? You see this huge move down from 73% to 39. That was alt
Right.
season. That was the last alt season where everything in crypto is going. Everybody and their mom was trading crypto. Elon Musk was talking about Doge, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Essentially, the reason why I've been talking about it a lot in the channel and on Twitter is because for the first time since that last bear market, we're seeing a kind of an impulse down, right? Where we're getting big red candles down. Now we're getting a bit of a correction up, but it's coming down out of it. What I believe this is a change of trend, essentially pointing to the trend, quote unquote, trend now being to the downside, which I think eventually will lead to some kind of alt season. I don't know if it's going to be as strong or whatever, but I think this leads to alts and Ethereum dominating this next leg, really.
Right.
But just to finish up what I was saying about ETH so we can move on is that essentially the same thing, bro. I think Ethereum is going to follow Bitcoin to the upside, but I think it will kind of, confirm that last momentum shift sooner. And then also, like I tweeted today, Ethereum Bitcoin, which is the measure of Ethereum versus Bitcoin, is actually very coiled up and looking like a very nice setup that I think is going to lead to a big explosion. And for those of you guys don't know, ETH Bitcoin measures Ethereum's strength versus Bitcoin. Obviously, it went down a lot during this bear market or during this bull market because of how strong Bitcoin was. But since May has been going up and is now correcting for what I think is going to be an explosion, which is going to result in ETH, outperforming Bitcoin, I think, on this next leg.
I mean, that's one thing I do use is pairing the assets. Like you'll have this, you'll have people message you say, well, what about this token or what about that? Or just like some random token, obscure thing you've never fucking heard of.
Yeah.
And then you put it up on a price chart and, price rules everything. And when you pair them together and you can see some outperformance, but it's clear to me that ETH is going to outperform simply because it's smaller and it takes less buy pressure for it to increase. Those are just kind of my thoughts around it.
Yeah, less buy pressure, more institute. Essentially, this ex BlackRock, I was looking at last night. This ex BlackRock executive, he said it outwardly that Wall Street is essentially rebuilding on Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
Rebuilding on chain, but Ethereum is their chain of choice because it hasn't had any downturn before. So I think that downtime. That you got the DATs, which I don't think they're dead. By any means, at least the big ones. I think they're going to continue to grow in strength. I think Ethereum, and once it breaks all-time highs, maybe we end up finding the reason why NFTs haven't run yet is because Ethereum's been down for 4 years, and all it took was Ethereum going in price discovery.
Yeah, I think it. Yeah,
What do you
I'm just going by.
think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going by what happened after the election. Can you hear me? Bren, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, it might have cut out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. I can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Hello? Yeah, it might be here.
Well, folks, I think Bren has cut off there. Let me just see. I'm just going to check. Guys, can you just do me a massive favor? Can you just drop a comment just so I know that you can hear me? It's not me. Maybe it was Bren. I'd really appreciate it. Yeah, just drop a comment there. That would really help, and then we'll get Bren back on. Reg Ra, keep cooking. Thanks for your comment, my friend. Bear with me. Alexander M has just put in my private group. Heard you, Jayden. Lol. Is it? I'm going to put. Is it me or Bren? And I'll pop it in the chat. Guys, if Bren doesn't come back, we will revisit this stream. What I wanted to do is for him to go through a chart of Ethereum, Solana, and then Sui. Obviously, I know that there's a lot of people who I think a lot of Bren's followers are more into the meme coin stuff, which we were going to get onto. So hopefully we get him back. But there's a lot of NFT holders, and I think actually Ethereum is a huge part of the NFT ecosystem, or a huge function of the price action. Because when people Alexander just put in, it's Bren. You were there all the while. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Obviously, the Ethereum is a huge function of the NFT ecosystem, and there's a lot of people that hold NFTs. And when people kind of go up this crypto wealth curve, is they rotate into these expressive assets that have built-in supply friction. Bren is back. Let me add to the stage.
Can you hear me?
Bren, I'm reliably informed that it's you and not me, my friend.
What, my sound or what?
Yeah, no, I'm doing the old gaslighting thing. You know, where you said, it's me, not you.
Yeah.
You know when you break up with someone or they break up with you.
No,
it's me. I've got stuff going on, mate. You know.
Yeah, it's me. It's not you. You're perfect. No,
Yeah.
no. I don't know what happened. I think it was my wife.
No, you're good, mate. But we were going, I think, for 5 minutes because I've just read the chat. Alexander, a buddy of mine, put in the chat there that apparently I was fine, but I was going, is it me? And you're going, are you there? But it's all good. It's all good. These technical issues never get old, do they?
No. But just to kind of conclude Ethereum real quick so we can move on. I mean, it's let me share my screen real quick.
No problems, bud.
I think Ethereum is going to follow Bitcoin, like you said. It's simple as that. But I think it is really, everybody says this, but a leverage bet on Bitcoin to the upside on this side in this time.
Yeah.
Because of all the other things. I think Ethereum, unpopular opinion, I think Ethereum, because of its potential to have everything on chain, everything we know, freaking collectibles, everything could potentially flip Bitcoin in market cap from here. Even, of course, there's going to be big corrections either way. But because of this big 4-year psychological barrier, once we break that, I think the sky's the limit for ETH. It gets super deflationary. And I think it hits closer to 10,000 next year than where it is now, for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. So you just said Ethereum is a leverage bet on Bitcoin. Then NFTs must be a leverage bet on ETH. And then if you're buying the strategy tokens, they're like a leverage bet on top of a leverage bet on top of this tower of Jenga.
And then if you're leverage trading the
fuck it out.
leverage trading the strategy tokens, then you're extra fucking 50. You're just leveraged up.
I think someone put a really, really funny comment about them being like the credit default swaps of of in The Big Short when there was just this refinancing of this bad debt and people buying them up or whatever. But yeah, it's funny, mate. It's a crazy world we live in, and I know why people go further and further out. Well, I'm doing it. It's because we know that it's smaller and less liquid, and it has the chance of increasing by a higher percentage. However, I think if the vast majority of us had just bought Bitcoin and done nothing, bought Bitcoin at the lows, and kind of done nothing, we'd probably be up a lot more by now. But it's not as fun, so fuck it.
Yeah. I think NFTs will over time, at least the right ones. Maybe not year to year, maybe not month to month, maybe not even year to year. But over a decade, will essentially act as a leverage bet on ETH, because I think, as crazy as it sounds right now, you ask most people, are NFTs ever going to go up again while ETH is going up in USD? They tell you no, but I think it does for the right ones, maybe 5 to 10 projects, and probably periods where we will see manias, where there's like any crypto bull market, where 2 to 3 to 6 months of just crazy activity where everything goes up, and then just slow bleed from, for some periods. And
I mean, well, what we saw in 2021 was this zigzag effect. So you had, when ETH pumped, it put downward pressure on NFTs. Then when NFTs started climbing, and ETH went up. So it had this kind of zigzag effect. If ETH went down, then what would happen is the NFTs would adjust on a dollar basis. But then we got to a stage in 2021 where both went at the same time. And I think we get to that because there's still a shit ton of people who've bought Ethereum for $80, $90, and they've got a crap ton of Ethereum. So spending 50 ETH when you've got 1,000 ETH on something that you want that's a social signaling vehicle. Because bear in mind that no one, these big Ethereum holders and even the Bitcoin whales, they've got no way of socially signaling this.
Nope.
You know, unless you own a CryptoPunk, unless you own something that has some status associated to it, and people aren't rotating out of the ecosystem. They're not going, oh, let me sell a bunch of my Bitcoin, or let me sell a bunch of my Ethereum to invest in stocks, or maybe to buy the property they live in, but not to invest in property. They're just not doing that because we're spending more time online than we are anywhere else, to be honest. So, did you want to move on to like either a SUI or a Solana chart?
Oh yeah. We can get into NFT. I'm getting too ahead of myself. Excuse me.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm gonna save the NFT. I've got a few questions around the NFT stuff. I want to kind of get your thoughts on the VFriends thing that's been engulfing the timeline as well. So
so SUI though, let's just pull up SUI and again we did a write up. I had an honor doing the write up in Jayden's Carrot Lane, which I was just looking at right now before I had to close it because everything was bugging out. I saw a little bit of people in the chat there with 25 people in there now. So shout out to all you guys in there. Check out Carrot Lane, Jayden's Substack for the SUI write up. But in it, I talked about how SUI, similar to Bitcoin, is like we're talking about leveraged bet, is that when Bitcoin goes up, last year when it went up 2 or 3x, we saw SUI in 2024 go up from 55 cents all the way up to $5.50, essentially a 10x. But of course, to the downside and inverse, when Bitcoin came down about 30%, SUI is down about 65, 75%. But like we were showing here earlier, I do think next year, whether it be straight from here or one more move down, that SUI will go back to the upside and hit new all-time highs, which, because of obviously most stuff follows Bitcoin, despite what most people want to anyone who says that everything follows Bitcoin, from even down low as the meme coin, shitcoin trenches are all driven by the health of Bitcoin and what it's doing, whether it's in its correction or not. So essentially SUI, I think, is going to follow whatever Bitcoin does on the higher time frames, but does have some upside, more upside than some other things because, for example, they dominated the last few years. We've seen domination in the first few years, usually in the last few years of the cycle, or the next few years continues. We see it making great connections and building apps like the Pokemon app. They have a game where essentially it's a Pokemon game directly licensed by Pokemon, where essentially you can get digital collectibles or NFTs, collecting them in this game, doing stuff like that I think is going to obviously showing that they're an elite blockchain that has a good, building good stuff. And I think that's going to lead to an all-time high price on SUI. Bouncing out of this box here, same kind of thing as Bitcoin on the higher time frames. Big move down, but once, I'm just accumulating SUI, and if SUI is your coin and one of your favorite L1s, I would be accumulating personally down here as if this was the bottom, while saving some dry powder and patience to where if SUI doesn't cross this 200 moving average, which again, it's going to take a big move, guys. It's going to take a huge, big explosive move there. And if it doesn't, it could potentially roll over into one more low next year. And that's really where I would back up the truck if I had the dry powder and stuff. And I think that'd probably be the last low if we were to get it.
How does that aggressive correction compare to, say, some of the meme coins that you are kind of bullish on? Because I know some of the meme coins have recovered.
Yeah. So SPX is kind of the outlier of this, the meme coins, whereas meme coins have really, since you've seen Bitcoin be down kind of sideways for the last year, meme coins have been down essentially in a bear market. That's why I feel like a lot of people, it's kind of separate topic, not to go too far into it, but why so much despair on Twitter and so much unhappiness is because most of the people are not in Bitcoin and ETH and these things that have done decent the last year. They're in the meme coins and alts that I got actually wrecked. So meme coins have been in a bear market. SPX, during Bitcoin's small rise in April, SPX actually went from 270 million up to pretty much 10x, which is a nice run. Pengu also. Besides that, the rest of the meme coins have been down. But to answer your question, during these kind of corrections where Bitcoin went down 30%, you're looking at a coin like SPX going down 65, 70. Coins like Giga, for example, which is a coin that I really like because of different stuff they're doing, strong community, all that, is down over 90. So even the strong coins that are really have survived these coin crashes before are down 80, 90, 70%, 60% if they're lucky. So and the rest are down 99% are dead. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think my thinking of an L1 versus, I guess, a meme coin is the applications layer. So, you know, they've teamed up with ByteDance, who are the parent company of TikTok. So, like the social layer of these blockchains is going to be coming to Web3. So they're going to be using, you know, the fastest ones that have the cheapest storage. And I just think, in my opinion, I mean, the team are incredible. I mean, the five, they were the team that formally launched that Libra token, which was meant to be Facebook's token. I don't know if you remember Mark Zuckerberg being in Congress and asking those.
Yeah, where everybody said he looked like a robot or whatever.
Yeah, but some of the questions they were asking him were like, basically, what is Wi-Fi and what is it? Was like crazy. Like these dinosaurs were asking him these questions about. They're basically trying to cross-examine him, and there was a car crash.
Yeah, that's where he was like, "Fuck it, I'm done living this way." And then he like went on his big glow up and like,
yeah, exactly.
Called a robot, like
and then he turned into an MMA fighter and a bit of a Chad, and you're like, oh, okay, I can get on side with this guy. Although he did you ever see the video of him at the UFC and he was queuing up to get his shirt and he was like nodding his head?
Yeah, they're like, what did he do? He just looked all awkward.
No, they're just like, and then the caption was like something about trying to fit in or something. I don't know.
But we can get on this later and when it pops more up. But I just have a hunch that Zuckerberg is going to play a big part in igniting some type of NFT or crypto bull run. I don't know. It's just some whatever, like not igniting necessarily the crypto bull run. It might already be happening, but I think Meta is going to come into a big play into something with NFTs in the metaverse, like something, you know.
100%. They're already doing avatars. Like if you look on Facebook, I mean, I don't really go on Facebook that often, but if you look on Facebook, some people it allows you to change your profile picture to an avatar.
Yep.
And then it becomes, well, why would they do that? I mean, it obviously seems that there's going to be something in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, Gary real quick. Gary actually interviewed Zuckerberg back during the NFT bull run. And even he talked about there that the pretty much alluding to like eventually like you're going to have ownership of these things and they're going to be NFTs. Gary alluded to even a few weeks ago that, you know, the glasses, when we move into the glasses in the next few years, digital assets, and that'll play a huge part of it. There's stuff coming there. So I just have a feeling that maybe even the next few years that Meta, everybody's counting out have you tried VR ever? I don't want to get too far into this, but
no, I haven't.
I actually have the Meta glasses and I haven't played in a long time, but it is,
what are they like?
It is fascinating. I will tell you, like,
would you use it as a substitute to your phone?
Right now, no. But, and again, this was like a year and a half when I was doing it even, and I'm sure it's even a little bit better now, but just this Horizon Worlds thing, which is their metaverse, it looks super cartoony, right? It's super kind of blocky, cartoony, but you have these glasses on and you walk into this world and you're essentially having face-to-face conversations with people in their avatar and cartoons. And it's the most fucking surreal thing. And then you go into the theater where you guys can watch like rap concerts and like movies and stuff together. But there's this town square thing before you go into these shows where you're essentially having a conversation with a guy from fucking Japan, France, this other guy from fucking some other place like England, and we're all talking as if we were talking face to face, whatever. Like, but we're talking, you know, it was fucking surreal. And like right now, it's not photorealistic. The headset sucks. There's not a lot to do in there. but that shit's the future. And I think NFTs and crypto and shit are just going to be the backbone of that.
I did see a guy on X. His name's Alex, someone or another, and he did a video of him with these things on, and then like he's touching stuff out here somewhere, and he's using it as like a navigation thing. Mate, I think it's going to be interesting. But I think as soon as we get into that world, our JPEGs are going to be worth a lot more than they are now.
The metaverse,
Go on.
to me today, feels like the next frontier in social connection. But I think increasingly it's going to be about building platforms and experiences that.
Yeah. I just want to just track back to Sui a second. So I just want to bring value to the audience, because I know a lot of your audience hold the meme coins. A lot of mine hold Sui. It kind of, each new cycle, there appears to be the new anointed coin. Like last cycle was Solana, cycle before it was Ethereum. But what you were able to tell with almost a high degree of certainty is you could see some, because these are network adoption models, there's kind of a race to the top for the best performing ones, and it starts with Bitcoin, and then there's this rotation out, and you could tell with a high degree of certainty that Solana was just going to be the fucking winner of last cycle. But now, and you did this in the guest post, is you showed actually the price performance from September to September. It was like nearly 1,000% on Sui. Now it's obviously having that big drawdown. I think obviously if it comes through this phase, it's my view that it may well win this cycle, simply on a percentage basis, because it's smaller and less liquid. So it's probably going to rise by a higher percentage. And that's kind of my framework around these things. Like, obviously Bitcoin takes a lot of buy pressure. I don't know what the market cap is, maybe 3 trillion or whatever. And then, if ETH, you might actually be able to see it on the screen, however many 100 billion. So that's my framework around it. And obviously because it's got a lower float, it has the chance of increasing by a higher percentage. And that's what I kind of think about it. So it's only going to take a little bit of buy pressure for this to increase substantially. However,
yeah, I agree. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
Yeah, and in a drawdown, it's fucking painful, because it's like the most sensitive in a drawdown, and it goes by a multiplier of whatever Bitcoin's dropping by.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then it's naturally like a reflexive in that way, or like, a leverage bet or whatever you want to call it. But when it's in combination, there's actually, good fundamental reasons, again, because like you said, the social layer, they've showed that they can make huge connections, and they have a good, core team, which right now, obviously this stuff has all been, that's a great point, because all of this stuff has been trading stuff. It's just been catering to traders already existing in there. But blockchains are going to be more app based, I think, and start to touch more of stuff outside of trading, less perps and more like social stuff, like collectibles and games and all this different stuff. And in that world, stuff like Sui could really dominate something versus Ethereum that's more all multi-purpose.
I just want to speak to Scuba Steve's comment. He's put Sui looks like it's cleared its sell side. Oh, do you know Steve?
Yeah, Scuba Steve from he's in the VFriends community. I had the pleasure to meet him in Chicago. But yeah, great
brilliant. I don't think myself and Steve have met. Potentially, I don't know.
It's funny, this trying to remember people thing. I get like I get people have a pseudo anonymous name on X, then they subscribe to the newsletter, then their email address comes through, and there's a different name on there. Then when I do like a one-to-one Zoom call with them, I'm seeing a different name on the screen. And then there's like, if they come into my private chat, then there's a different phone number. And I'm like, I know you, but I'm just trying to like piece it together. But I imagine myself and Scuba Steve have come across each other once before, potentially. He says Sui looks like it's cleared its sell side liquidity.
I'm not gonna lie, Scuba Steve too, before I forget, is actually came into one of my streams before, the day before, and I have to give him his props. Like, where like the day before when Bitcoin was really starting to drop hard, like a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, "Yeah, this thing, it's going straight to 80K." And I was like kind of trolling because Steve's my friend and we kind of mess with each other. And I was just like kind of laughing at him. What do we know? It goes to fucking 80K and what a beast. Shout out to Steve.
But you can be right, but you can also be wrong. You can be right short term over 2 months. It's like I do think about this a lot. In fact, I was saying this earlier, is that what if you are right, and what if it does drop by whatever, but it doesn't there's less of that left tail drawdown, and it happens for say 3, 4, 5 months.
Yeah.
And then it recovers again. Then it's like, well, yeah, you were right, but then you're trying to trade around something that just like no one knows what the fuck's going on with it. I didn't think it was going to do that.
I didn't say you think it was going to do it the same day, Steve. I said that you thought it was going to go to 80K. I just said that's what you said on that day.
Fair enough. All good, my man. Obviously we covered the Sui chart. One of the things I wanted to kind of just touch on was the NFT stuff.
Oh, my bad, Steve. I read it the wrong way, bro. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. No, you're good. What's he said there? Fair warning. I don't trade crypto. Just reading price action. Love that, my friend. It's just piggybacking off what Steve has said there. I was listening to an interview with Chris Beniski and Raoul Powell, and it was brilliant. And this Chris Beniski guy, he's an absolute genius. He's big brain, crypto analyst, but just really thoughtful. And he says things in a way that you immediately understand. That's him there. You've given him a follow, have you?
I think I followed him a while back. I don't know why I unfollowed. Maybe.
Yeah, I unfollow people because I don't want their thoughts, like, I don't know, have any, like, if there's conflicting ideas that I don't agree with, I kind of
exactly.
That's probably why. But he said something really interesting, which is it's a lot easier to spot a bottom than it is a top. So he says what a lot of people should do, or the vast majority of people should do, is they should be below the knees investors versus trying to sell the top. And I think that is such fucking good advice, because everyone knows when you're in the bear of the bear of the bear, and there's just so much pain that you're thinking, okay, this is probably over now. But you're probably less aware of it when you're in a bull market and the price is topped, because it's peak hysteria, everything's great, and that was just kind of speaking to Scuba Steve's comment about kind of not trading crypto, and just, if you can add during the lows and just play multiple cycles, I think that is kind of where the kind of real opportunities are. I wanted to kind of segue onto NFTs. I did a segment today on Current Lane Live with Burge and Simon, and it was a real good one. I've actually shared the video to my page. It's a 5-minute one, so we won't kind of go over it. But what do you make of some of the kind of beef around VFriends at the moment on the timeline? You got any?
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know. I think I do like all the people involved, and we don't even go into names of people or whatever.
Yeah.
Just talk about the grander thing. Is that I don't know. I feel like overall, people from the last few years, whether it's Pudgy Penguins, VFriends, whatever, there's a lot of animosity of people kind of getting hurt by floor prices coming down, right? And you had Gary definitely talk about. He even said that everything's going to come down 90% plus, like VFriends. Even VFriends going to be in this big winter. But despite, even though you had that, you still also had him and others and everybody just really hyped up on the excitement of the bull run near the top. And of course, people made buying decisions of buying tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of VFriends at the top. And those people who did are obviously heard and had the expectations that maybe in their heads that the prices should be up by now. And even Gary and these people talk about there's a lot of stuff that happened with regulation and stuff that was what's it called? Royalties disappearing, stuff like that where it's unforeseen, to where it's taken maybe a bit longer than people would have thought. But I think that's really where it stems from. A lot of people kind of hurt from that, and kind of in their expectations in their head of where they think the brand should be. Maybe stuff should be more NFT oriented, right? Just like 2021. And I found myself earlier this year too saying, oh, they should probably do more Web3 stuff and more cater to these, Web3 people. But then really I started to kind of change my perspective on things too when I start to see that all this hype around airdrops the last few years, coins and all these Web3 stuff, the hype has died down, and a lot of these NFTs are further down in floor price than they were before all that stuff. And I've started to realize now that the only way that any of these brands become successful, VeeFriends, Pudgy Penguins, and Zuki, is that they build an IP and release content and collectibles that people outside of this small Web3 world that's really small right now, they have to attract other people, right? So a lot of these people, tell me if I'm wrong, but a lot of these, right, from my perspective at least, that a lot of this turmoil is coming across. People are saying that VeeFriends is selling too many physical products, right? They're saying they're selling too much, and they view it as, it's a demand or it's a supply thing. They're releasing too much supply, and they're trying to sell to their customers and sell to their core community. And while definitely I understand, to the untrained eye, not untrained eye, but like really on the surface, it could really look like that. But I believe, like I said, the only way any of these brands are going to become successful is if they release products. Collectibles are huge right now to bring in more collectors. They have to release more products and to get more eyes on the brand. And people on Whatnot, if you're on these Whatnot VeeFriends shows, you see it's happening. Not only are new collectors finding VeeFriends for the first time on these Whatnot shows, but they're getting onboarded now directly into the NFTs. So where I think a lot of people are valid thinking, oh, the selling thing. I think the thing that people are really fudding right now, again, is that selling to people thing is the thing that's bringing real demand to the NFTs and is really bringing fresh blood to the NFTs. So I completely understand the understanding. People want their NFTs to be higher. Trust me, like I kind of had the luxury of buying some of these at the low. And I do have a different perspective than some of these people who bought $100,000 of VeeFriends at the top. But at the same time, I think if you take an outside perspective, if we kind of zoom out and just wait for this stuff to play out, I think the onboarding and selling of things is actually extremely bullish in onboarding new people. And the last thing is that the way I feel it is that none of these products that people are buying, you don't have to buy them, right? If you want to buy 1/3 of them, you want to buy all of them. Right now, I'm personally bought about 80% of the drops because I think there is going to be real long-term value, and I've enjoyed the cards and stuff. But you don't have to buy them. You can still communicate. You can still, be involved in the community and do all these things without buying every drop. And I think everybody really should view it as all the new community members and stuff is bullish, net bullish for for everybody, really.
Yeah, man, I think you're spot on with that. Did you miss the mint day of VeeFriends?
Yeah, so really, I was around, like I said, since 2016, 2017, but really like kind of was late to NFTs, kind of flooded it a little bit, and just really didn't have as much capital or conviction to mint however much the 1 ETH of VeeFriends were back then or whatever. And then and I bought a Series 2 and had to book games. But overall, if I would have had the capital that I do now back then, I definitely would have tried to mint. But
it's funny you say about like I say this often. I really like the way he's cross-pollinating the physical stuff with the digital, because I think people, especially on crypto Twitter, I don't want to dead name it, but or crypto X, I don't think they actually realize how small it is. I know it can sound like an echo chamber when you're on here, but like we need new blood in the ecosystem, and we need people taking the friction away. And like you mentioned about the Whatnot streams, he's actually integrated a way to buy the NFTs while you're on the Whatnot stream, which I think is really clever. And obviously the physical stuff people resonate with. They resonate with the Topps Chrome, they resonate with the merch and the plushies. And I think this treasure chest was something that got a bit of FUD, which I can kind of see where people are coming from. Because you imagine let's say you've bought a gift goat, and I know that some people bought gift goats at like 50 Ethereum when ETH was at all-time highs. So this is like $150,000, $200,000 token that they've purchased, and now they're having to buy some of these drops
And I think to a certain degree that they should probably just be given this stuff for free,
which I think is the right framework. However, there is another train of thought, which is when you give stuff away for free, it does cheapen the brand or the value of the brand. You know, and I kind of think of it in a similar way to how top designer brands kind of don't give away like faulty clothing. They destroy it because obviously there's a supply mechanic, but also the cheapening of it if you send it to a charity shop who inevitably give it, you know.
I think finding a middle ground between that and, of course, really like what these drops are, they serve multiple purposes, right? It's a way the company can obviously produce revenue, which I don't know many other NFT brands on it that are producing revenue outside of, you know, volume of their selling of their NFTs. It produces revenue for the company so it can stay afloat. But like I said, the biggest thing is it onboards new people. You have to release new, whether it's content or collectibles are the biggest thing right now. To put new eyes on it. They have to have something to sell on the whatnot shows. So to find a middle ground of, some people have complained about this. Like, I'm not going to be completely blind to it. Like some people, there's a drop for, I don't know, a Notorious Ninja drop, and then nobody in the Notorious Ninja holders get anything. I understand that. Like, I think for the specific drops, if it's a character specific drop, definitely maybe give it to, you know, the 40 people that have it, give them a free shirt or a hat or whatever. I understand that. But I don't know, maybe, I don't know if this, you want to give it to all 10,000 holders or even thousands, because then essentially the company is just spending money to get it. I think making a middle ground to where releasing these products where the company can make money while still giving some of the holders free stuff is kind of the move to me.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, he must have something up his sleeve. Sorry, I just got kind of distracted there because I did a stream earlier and it was with Simon and Burge, and we did a segment on this, and I shared the snippet, and we did pull up a tweet from someone. Obviously, I won't mention his name or whatever, but he has actually replied to
we can do it. I don't mind. Like,
okay, cool.
Cool. Again, I like all these people. Tim's a good friend of mine. All these people are
okay, cool. Well, it was Tim. So Tim's just replied. I hope he's listening to the stream. Obviously, I put a video up to say we just addressed the FUD around some of this, and then Tim's replied, being sad and disappointed is FUD ? Never said a bad word about any particular drop. Simply the balance of things. I suppose this is negative and FUD, but not for me. Tim, absolutely respect your opinion, my friend. You would have heard me say during the stream that I thought you came across very positive, and that, you know, we obviously really respect your opinion. The fact that we're talking about it now is obviously there's merit in it. If you were doing it to be a bit of a dick, there would be absolutely no merit in any of it. There is merit in what you're saying, and we're just kind of looking at both sides of it and just talking about it because we are equally as passionate about VeeFriends as you are, my friend. So I hope you're listening to this. And obviously there's no, I wasn't trying to be malicious or anything. Scuba Steve has put in there. Scuba Steve's on fire with the comments. You know, I do like it when people chuck in comments there. He said, right, I still don't have a VeeFriend 1 because I know there's another leg down for Ethereum. Scuba Steve, that is a dangerous game, my friend. I think VeeFriends, I don't know. It doesn't. I think people look at the dollar amount, just a personal thing. Rare Robot stickers, Series 2 boxes, Topps Chrome, Ninja packs, and many others, all free. That's true.
The Series 1 box. The Series 1 box, real quick, like was a huge win. For example, I'm a degenerate, so I opened every single fucking box I got, except I gave a few. I gave a few to, you know, to my mom. I gave a few to, and then somebody else.
Yeah.
But so I had about 20 boxes. I got about 25 VF1s at the time. Got all of those. Gave some away, but opened about 22 boxes. And you got those for $100 each, right? Pre-sale. And they're right now still with demand, you know, not crazy on everything overall. It's still sitting at $600 or $700, right?
Do you know, bro? Are you on about the Topps? You on about the Topps Chrome ones?
Yeah, Topps Chrome. Sorry, yeah, I should have.
Okay, so you want to hear how I screwed up?
Yeah.
I claimed the free ones. I could have claimed 20 others for the $100, and obviously got the 6X.
Oh man.
Didn't because I was low on funds, so I thought I'd just claim the free ones with my specs.
I don't blame you, dude. Like honestly, even me, like I maxed most of them. I think actually I left a few on the table too. But
Yeah.
I didn't. I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool, but like I don't think.
But I didn't realize you could sell them. You could sell them and get them sent to people's addresses. So they send you the fund and buy your spot, which is a very clever thing of the website. But
it's funny that the VFriends community, they're kind of like, they obviously watch Gary's trash talk and they're trying fucking barter with you, mate. You try and negotiate with someone from VFriends, it's fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Like, I get they try and pull your pants down literally first part of the negotiation.
Yeah.
Like, so I was selling them and I obviously put it in the chat, and then people are like, mate,
I must have sold mine for like a 2X, like $200. Like
Yeah.
that's fucking nothing. I knew these things were going to go up. I knew
Yeah.
people were doing the box breaks and all these sorts of things.
but even then it's like, I bought them. Well, I got them free, so I sold them $200. But then it was like, would you take like $120 for it? I'm like, these things are fucking selling for $100, and you want me to still post it to you for free? It's just like,
No.
But I respect the hustle. I respect the hustle.
And that's another thing we didn't add is that the VF1 holders, like that do get access to these drops, if they're flippers or breakers or whatever, almost every single drop, pretty much everyone has, if you've sold it in the right time window, has been a flip for holders. So
yeah,
even if the NFTs haven't gone up as much, it really held steady. There's upside if you're able to do it the right way and just buying the physical and selling them.
But I'm not going to make the same mistake next year whenever they do the next round of cards, because they've got to do more supply. There was, I think, what there were 40,000 cases or something.
Yep. Yeah. I guess because Gary, I guess, asked for more, but then obviously VFriends is the only other top, for people who are listening, Topps Chrome. The only other IPs that have had a Topps Chrome release now are Disney, Star Wars, obviously part of Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, SpongeBob just got one. Topps Chrome, VFriends got one before SpongeBob. So that just goes to show it's so ahead of its time there. So that's why I gave it such a small release.
But this is fucking crazy. People are going to see this and realize that it's just so obvious after the event. I mean, even the Christie's thing, like he features in Christie's for some of those original drops, or the actual hand drawn ones. We're going for a couple of $100,000 at Christie's. But the Topps Chrome thing is a big one because they do 100 billion in card revenue sales a year.
Cards are the biggest thing out there right now. Yeah.
Mate, bro, I've watched you guys in America on these fucking videos. Like, you got some 55-year-old auntie trying to like spark someone out in the middle of Walmart.
She's got some guy in a fucking headlock.
That's VFriends. That's some VFriends.
He's got this guy in a headlock trying to get these Pokemon card packs out of him. You got some like old boy like ripping like slabs out of little kids' hands and stuff. It's crazy over there, mate. But I'm down for it.
Yeah, and Gary's out. Did you watch the Bloomberg thing from Gary the other day?
No, I didn't see it.
It's quick here. Let's watch like the first like.
Go on. Let's have a look at it.
Oops! Shout out to Constantine for sure.
Yeah, Constantine is actually in my group, although he's gone a bit incommunicado. He might have a missus.
But he was pretty much just talking about here how collecting is just continuing to grow and how it's going to be the next kind of big form.
Can you play the video, bud?
Yeah, do you want me? It's 6 minutes. You want to play just the beginning?
Yeah, let's have. Well, just before we go on to that, just pause a second. I've got Alexander, who's in my group. He's just dropped a message in here. He's got a question. He says, where does Bren see Bitcoin going in the next days after it claimed 90K, and his chances for a Santa rally? Even if we dump after, that would be interesting if it hasn't been addressed, and maybe a good closing perspective.
Yeah, great question. Well, who is that, Jonathan?
No, it's Alexander
Oh, sorry.
Mayer. He's in my founding group.
Perfect. Alexander,
he's-
it's a great question, brother. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, you could go.
Yeah, Alexander. Yeah.
Alexander, it's a great question, brother. I think, again, if we look right now, I think we're due for a bounce that's going to go higher, I think, than this. The question is whether it just V bottoms from here or if it does what most of these corrective bottoms do and is consolidate for a couple weeks. Like we saw this last April correction ended in a month, like 4 or 5 weeks. This other correction back in 2024, it took all the way for about 2 months. This is a common theme you're going to see at most bottoms, major bottoms, is some type of consolidation or distribution, or distribution. Some people like to call, or no, accumulation. I'm sorry. There's different names for it. But before trend or price reverses, you're going to see some type of consolidation or basis formed. With that being said, whether it goes straight from here or does retest that low like it normally does, I do think there's a good chance that you said Santa rally, that in the next month we will be trading higher from here. From there, do we do what Scuba Steve is expecting and that bounce leads to another low like we saw in the bear market of 2022? Or is this just a deeper version of what we saw in April? We really need to evaluate on this next bounce. But so far, so good, Jonathan. It's Alexander. Why did I say fucking Jonathan? Alexander.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I think a few people are going to now call him Jonathan in the group. I think that'd be quite funny.
Both like the two most common English names.
Yeah, he's actually not English, but yeah, no, it's all good. I'm just gonna drop him a message just saying, nice question, Jonathan.
But thank you, Jonathan. No, Alexander, that's a great question. I do think so far so good. This is looking very impulsive. Last thing I'll leave you on is that if you notice about all these past impulses to all-time highs, out of the gate, they're very impulsive, meaning very big green candles. Very rarely is it like a lot of chop or whatever. So far so good. This is impulsive so far, but do not be surprised if we do retest that low. And I don't know if you saw at the top of the show, Jonathan, really the last confirmation that's been the confirmation on these other kind of corrections that we are back, like out of the correction, is once price trades back above this red 200 moving average. But again, that price would have to go pretty far up there. And I think, we're already seeing confirmations of a move up here.
Yeah, I love that. Love that, my man. Right. Let's close on that VFriends video because I want to see that. I know we've kind of hijacked the call a little bit with the VFriends chat, but I'm just obviously you and I both have very high conviction in it.
I see some VFriends here too. Gene the Q too. They appreciate you for sharing the stream.
Yeah, Gene is that one of yours or one of mine? I don't know if you know Gene the Q.
Gene is definitely. I've seen him on the timeline for sure.
Right. Okay. It might be my Gene. I don't know.
Gene the Q. Does he have the VFriends Forever Phoenix?
No, probably not.
It's this guy right here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, interesting. I don't have any mutual friends with him. But shout out to you.
No, I appreciate you sharing the stream, Gene. Means a lot, my man. Right. Let's flick to that.
Let's watch it.
What was the essence of what he was saying in that video? Yeah, let's push play.
It's a Bloomberg segment based on talking about collecting, right? And how it's just growing so much, kind of like you talked about the Pokemon stuff. And it's good.
Can you make that bigger? Here we go. Is there sound?
Oh, you can't hear it?
No.
Oh, weird. Hold on. Here, do I have to?
No.
View tab. Here, hold on. Does this work now? Can you hear it? You can't hear it still?
No.
Hold on. I know how to do it, actually.
Okay.
I need to share my entire screen. Okay, perfect. And then this should work.
Guys, just while Bren's doing that, if you could do me a massive favor, I know there's a lot of friction to this, but myself and Bren are writing on Substack. And if you could go to www.carrotlane.com or just click the link in my bio and just pop your email address in there, because you'll get all of these things in written form. And
a lot of the, I guess the stuff that we talk about on the lives can be kind of surface level, but we kind of drill down into it in written form. And that's the best place to get all the best insights. So smash the link in my bio and just pop your email address in. I would really appreciate it. Obviously, the bigger the newsletter grows, the more the live streams we get. Obviously, for Carrot Lane, the better the guests we can get on over time. Although he doesn't really get any better than Bren, minus the technical issues.
We'll whittle it down to no technical issues, but
nice.
Let's go ahead and watch this video before we close.
Yeah, nice one.
Can you hear it now or no?
No, I've got to hold on, mate. I'm doing what I did last week. Right.
Let us know. Hold on. Oh, no. Oh, I didn't share the entire. Hold on. Can you hear it now? Here, actually, I think I have to share the entire screen. I thought I already was. Let me try one more thing.
Okay.
Let's see. Entire screen.
Okay.
Still can't hear it?
No, there's no volume. Do you know what? Let me see if I can do it on mine.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Because I want to watch it. Yeah, it's probably hold on. Bear with me 2 seconds, brother. Did you say it was on Constantine's?
Yeah, Constantine. Yeah, while he's pulling that up, if you guys could like, comment, retweet, share, always appreciated. This is our second stream together. Today we talked a bit about Bitcoin, what to look for after this bounce, a lot of other great stuff. So check it out if you missed it, and shoot us both a follow. Jayden, besides the Substack, Twitter, and then the Botsman Calls Telegram channel as well. But I appreciate you guys.
Oh, fuck. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, the screen, no, I can see you.
Oh, okay. I nearly had a meltdown because my screen went blank. Right. Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Let's see if it works. Is it playing?
By this, but it gets to this idea.
There we go. There you go.
It's the Superman comic, but we've had other sort of collectibles, and I want to take out the Klimts and the Frida Kahlos because we know there's always been demand for that type of art. But to see Superman or to see a gold chain from the hip hop era get auctioned off at Sotheby's, you're starting to see things, particularly from my generation, that people are valuing in a way that I think if you thought about it maybe 20 years ago, you said there's no way we're going to see the type of valuations ascribed to those things.
Every meaningful collectible that has been outside of paintings that are sold at Sotheby's, antiques sold 30 years ago at Sotheby's or Christie's, vases, clocks, watches from the late 1800s in Europe at the time weren't a collectible, right? Trading cards in the 50s in this country, people that are watching right now, dads had them in their bike spokes or threw them against the wall. New collectibles have always emerged. Humans have always collected. And by the way, contemporary art, go read Boom, go read the history. In the 60s and 70s, people were making fun of the art that was made in New York.
Yeah.
And that wasn't European art. And now it's selling for 10, Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol, Basquiat. So, to me, you're right.
Yeah.
Our generation, I just turned 50 the other day.
Yeah.
Comic books, trading cards, sneakers.
Yeah.
We're seeing a new game, but the numbers, look at these numbers on the screen. The numbers are real. And I think a lot of people think this is an anomaly or a one-off. I think this is the preview. And I think collecting is now joining fashion, music, sports in the lifestyle genre game. Everyone's collecting something is kind of what I see from 5 to 10 years from now.
I am curious about how you value something. And I know that valuing art has always been more art than science, pun intended. But when you start talking about sneakers or, these other sort of more contemporary items, is there sort of a way that we value this, or we're just kind of just playing it as we hear it?
Well, we're playing it like the way everything's always worked. What are two people willing to pay for it?
Yeah.
and who's got the big wallet and who's got the little wallet in that situation. I think this is about demand. I think this is about expression. We live in a social media world where people want to show people what they have. Fashion has always been that. We wear the clothes we want, and why am I wearing this hat? Like, it's all that.
Yeah.
I just think that the returns are hard for the audience that watches this show to deny over the last half century, let alone last decade. Right. The returns are the returns.
Yeah.
Like
17%,
at some point, people are gonna be like, this is not silly anymore.
Yeah.
You know, people are genuinely interested in these things because for me, for example, I'd rather own a trading card or a comic book and have that go up in value than the same equivalent of a stock. 100 shares of Tesla is not as interesting for me going up as one rare rookie card or a collectible. It has extra value.
Right. Well, it has sort of value that I would assume some sentimentality.
Nostalgia.
The argument might be it doesn't necessarily have the liquidity that people might value if they own 100 of Tesla shares.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And I'm sure everybody who's got a half a brain that goes on this show talks about diversifying. I think that's fair.
We've heard that one before.
Yeah, you've heard that one? I think that's fair, but to take it even a step further to a lot of the stocks I like here, the CPG landscape, I think collectibles, if you look back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s on Madison Avenue, a lot of these CPGs, the Pepsis, the Hostesses, they integrated collectibles. You look at Hershey's, what they just did with Pokemon. I think collectibles are not only something people are gonna collect for monetary value, but I actually think a lot of Fortune 500 companies are gonna start using collectibles to drive their day-to-day business.
That's so true.
Well, Gary, what I'm curious about when we're talking about collectibles, are we talking about actually owning the object itself? Because there's a lot of platforms and different firms out there that try to basically securitize these things and offer shares.
Well, now you're getting into like probably the most exciting thing. When you start layering these collectibles into fractionalization, you start talking about what the blockchain can actually do instead of just speculation. Yeah, I think what Wall Street did for companies and fractionalized, I think you will see for collectibles. So that $9 million, one of the reasons so many people that are thoughtful are buying the best of the best is they realize, wait a minute, I'm gonna sell the ownership of this $9 million comic book in fractional shares and it's gonna be worth 17 million because a lot of people like me are gonna maybe not put up 9, but I might want to put up 100,000 for me. Somebody I might put up $1. So yeah, I think fractionalization, the blockchain, the things you're seeing ahead of us, we're looking at the Mickey Mantle right now, those numbers are going crazy. And I think you're starting to see new things go. Video games are starting to emerge as collectibles. In like a Fortnite sold for $40,000 the other day. That's a new game. Forget about Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. So again,
and computers, and smartphones,
correct. The first iPhone. I'm telling you, I think the audience that watches this show is underestimating this overarching collectible insurgence that we're gonna see in people diversifying. But again, going to be activated by Fortune 500 companies to sell their day-to-day products. The best way to sell a bunch of cereal right now is to put a collectible in it like it's 1965. And I think the Kellogg's and the Hostesses and the Pepsis and the Coca-Colas are about to wake up to this trend. The data's pretty clear for anyone who's paying attention. And it is a little more fun. In general, people are looking for a little joy. There's a lot going on in the world. And this is a fun place for people. And it creates community. You look at Comic-Con in San Diego and Javits Center. There's a reason the comic book, the nerds, that whole Revenge of the Nerds thing, it's here.
It's here.
It's here.
It's happening now. Gary, unfortunately, we have to leave it there.
Devastating.
Hope to have you back soon.
Willing to host the whole show if you guys
go. It's
Gary,
better you than
anytime.
Thank you.
And by the way, I'm just crying thinking about all the comic books I threw out
Oh my
over
God.
the years.
Well, don't
baseball
cry.
cards.
Don't cry. We just have to hold it together until 5 p.m.
That reminds me of this real quick. That reminds me of this tweet that the guy put out the other day we showed. Can you hear me?
I've stopped sharing it, but it's still playing around in the background. So hold on 2 seconds. Let me stop that. Mate, that's really interesting. Obviously, we kind of know his stance on he said CPG, the consumer packaged goods companies, which is really interesting. Is that actually the way to spread the IP? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Actually, the way to spread the IP is actually to put a collectible in it, just like it's 1960. It fucking makes absolute sense, mate. The guy knows what he's doing.
That's
which
crazy.
Is why...
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, which is, you got people dunking on him at the moment because, I think in 2021, he kind of leaned towards using the contract capability of the NFT. Now he's leaned into the collectible side of it, but actually that is the way. That is the way because it locks in the network effects. And I think you get more people into the physical stuff. I think people are going to fall in love with the brand, be friends with the brand without realizing it's an NFT project.
Yeah,
potentially.
For sure. Now that'll happen through the content. But I also find it really refreshing too that have you been on any of the Whatnot streams?
I've seen some of them. I mean, he's selling a shit ton of merch, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. And that's what's bringing a lot of people into the brand in general. But lately, since they've gotten the Rareable thing set up, where essentially you can buy VeeFriends with a credit card, and now he's doing the same thing with the merch, but with the NFTs. Like he's essentially saying, go to the website right now. Like, who's buying an NFT or VeeFriends today? And even since he kind of came back in the last year, being more active in the Discord and stuff, a little bit, he's talked about how NFTs are the number one collectible, and how, if you're saving up for anything, it should be the Grail, the NFTs, kind of put it at the top. So yeah, there's gonna be plenty of people who fall in love with the brand through maybe a cartoon who have no idea it's an NFT, but I do find it refreshing that they're making collectibles the main thing, like you said, which makes sense. Collectibles are the number one thing, as well as you got a lot of flack from the law stuff a couple years ago with securities and stuff. So it makes sense to kind of shift towards making it collectible. So it takes it away from the whole securities conversation. And then as well as, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, mate, after the Trump-Melania thing, I think all bets are off with that fucking stuff. Like, I think anything's in play at the moment.
Exactly.
So
last thing, this guy said, kind of reminded me what he said in that video too, is that every brand will one day have digital collectibles, like we were talking about. And that reminds me, I feel like a lot of these brands use like McDonald's and a lot of these other.
Well, Doodles did the collaboration with McDonald's, didn't they?
For sure. And more so,
people are drinking out the cups and they're not really knowing that it's actually a Web3 brand. And then obviously they're downloading the digital assets, not realizing it's on blockchain rails. And it's just like, actually, that is the way to onboard people.
Exactly.
I know Starbucks did their Odyssey program, their rewards program, which was on blockchain rails, but there's no reference to it being Web3, crypto, or blockchain. It's just digital assets, which I think is clever, because there's this kind of negative reaction to it being crypto or NFTs. And in fact, if you say that to any traditional gamer, you probably get punched in the face.
Yeah.
But it's now midnight here in the UK. I would probably go and just talk to you all night, mate, because you and I just fucking vibe. And we obviously have similar interests. But in terms of where you think things are headed, if and I probably asked you this on the last call, I can't imagine things would have changed. I'll start with me this time. If you were to put if I was to put my neck on the line or put my head above the parapet, I would say that we have maybe 2 months of some sideways chop, just until financial conditions have had enough time to catch up. Not too sure about a Santa rally, but Q1, maybe end of January, I think we look good. Just a spidey senses thing. But I think we've bottomed here. I don't think we go any lower. It might chop down a bit. Those are my views about how things play out. And then I think once we go past all-time highs again, I think we're in the clear, provided he does not fucking tweet. However, they need to get voted in again, bud. So they need better financial conditions. They need to roll this debt, and they need these asset prices to go up, because if they don't, they're not going to get voted in.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree pretty much about everything there. I do think, really, if we look at any of these past corrections, most of the time, like I said, you're going to get some consolidation. But of course, we only have a few data points to go off of. That we could easily get just a crazy rally up from here. Also don't be surprised if we chop back towards that low. For me, that'd be really a sign of a very likely final kind of chop, like you said, maybe for a few weeks. And then I do think we get a large bounce to the upside from here. From there, like I said, I'm personally am DCAing the last couple of weeks and really the last few months as if this is a more short-lived correction, with the understanding that we could very well see a move up and then a fail to break that 200 moving average, which I'm kind of using as the guide on the higher time frames as a final confirmation. And then if we were to get another low next year, I would literally just treat that as like back the truck up, buy as much, as I'm comfortable buying, because at that point, I think that very likely be the final low. And either way, either two of these scenarios, I think is leading to some point in 2026, very likely Q1, Q2, new all-time highs, and all these things that we talked about earlier on in the show, the macro stuff, institutional stuff, regulatory side, I think very likely leads to a very strong 2026 and could be the strongest part of the bull run we've seen so far. And I'm just extremely optimistic about the next few years.
Mate, I've just taken a screenshot of that. So what I'm going to do is, if it doesn't go there, I'm going to message you and say, Bren, why? You said it was going to go. I'm joking.
I'll take the full brunt of it now.
Yeah.
This has
I
to
think
right now.
Yeah. The thing I love about what you do is you give a lot of clarity, and it's good. Because one of the things you shared with the SUI chart is actually SUI has had one 72% drawdown and one 78% drawdown. And now we've had this drawdown, and it's like, well, hold on a sec, what the hell's going on? But the reality is this is just kind of par for the course. So you can see it's had two significant ones. I think you shared that chart in your guest post that you did today.
Look, 78% here, 72%. It's 2025, 40%. So yeah, this is the fourth 40+% correction in the last year alone for SUI. So
yeah,
always zoom out, always check the charts yourself. It'll give you better perspective.
I love that, my friend. Folks, thank you for listening. Thanks to the guys who have commented, Gene, Scuba, Steve, and everyone who kind of dived in. Really appreciate it. We'll probably do another one maybe next week or the week after or whatever. Yeah. But I've really enjoyed this, my friend. Where's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, of course, Twitter. It's kind of the headquarters. Where you're going to find, I'm really active on Twitter, but where you're going to find more of my more in-depth written stuff on trading, more like tips and tricks type of stuff is in the Telegram here in my bio that I run with my business partner, Bossman. Been, working with him for the past couple of years. Again, you're going to find a lot of good stuff on meme coins, crypto, just different stuff I've learned over the years, giveaways, all that good stuff. And then I am on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, where we are streaming, not right now, but on my other streams through YouTube as well. I'm at Bren Trades. I appreciate if you guys shoot me a follow on there, trying to branch out to different places. Going to do, obviously you guys see freaking Jayden's handsome face on here every time. I'm going to do a what's it called? Face. I'm going to eventually do a face reveal and stuff too. So right now, TikTok, obviously not much of the faceless content, but appreciate you guys. Give support on all there. And we'll see you on the next one. I appreciate you all, everybody, for being here.
Nice one, my friend. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Brent. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
You too.
Or I'll stay on, dude.